Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're using our sources to tackle a topic that's really transforming how executives make decisions. We're talking about artificial intelligence in strategic workforce planning. For too long, even the biggest companies have relied on these static forecasts to manage huge changes. So if you're preparing for a world where, market volatility and digital transformation are just the new normal, this deep dive is your shortcut.
Yeah.
It's about understanding how organizations are finally starting to manage risk at scale. And our mission today is to unpack the hard, specific mechanisms. We want to see exactly how AI can simulate these really complex, high-stakes scenarios. I mean, we're talking about the kind of issues that can define a company's future, like layoffs or massive reskilling plans.
hmm And strategic workforce planning has always been, a fundamental part of business. You're mapping out future labor needs, you're looking for skill gaps. But let's be honest for a second. In today's world, with geopolitical shifts, digital disruption happening overnight, constant economic uncertainty, that traditional annual exercise, it's basically obsolete.
It just can't keep up.
It can't. The sheer complexity, the volatility of it all, it just overwhelms human planning capacity. And AI steps in right at that breaking point.
Okay, let's unpack this then. If we get past the buzzwords, what specific analytical power does AI actually bring to the table here? What's the thing that really changes the game?
It's the shift from, let's call it, educated prediction to data-driven optimization. And that optimization is calculated in real time.
Right.
So the core function isn't just predicting what might happen, it's prescribing the optimal path forward. AI uses these advanced machine learning models, predictive analytics, to figure out which workforce strategy gives the company the highest statistical probability of hitting its long-term goals. And what's fascinating here is the sheer depth of correlation that AI can pull out. It's analyzing massive, and I mean massive amounts of historical and real-time operational data, far more than any human team could ever hope to process.
But it's not just about the volume of data, right?
No, not at all. The real magic isn't the volume. It's finding these non-obvious correlations. For instance, AI might spot that employee retention doesn't actually crater immediately after a big reorg announcement. Instead, it might find that the real risk spikes 3 months before that announcement.
Before. Why then?
Because that's when it detects that cross-functional meeting load suddenly increase, signaling some kind of internal stress or turmoil. That kind of insight, connecting meeting schedules to flight risk, that's completely invisible to traditional workforce planning.
And that kind of hidden correlation, that feeds directly into the capability that is most valuable here, which is the scenario simulation. The sources we looked at highlight this again and again. Leaders aren't just running one model of the future anymore.
No, they're running tens of thousands.
Instead of looking at a single projected budget, the system models the likely outcomes of just radically different strategies. And it does this by simulating the impact of combined external factors. So picture this. The AI isn't just looking at your spreadsheets. It's running something like a Monte Carlo simulation, where a major competitor launches a disruptive new product at the same time that interest rates jump 200 basis points.
And you can see how your teams would hold up.
Exactly. Leaders can test the resilience of their engineering talent or their sales force against that exact combined threat.
That's it. We're talking about quantifying risk at a really granular level. The ability to run, 10,000 versions of the future in just a few minutes? It lets the leadership team move from just reacting to problems
To actually testing solutions.
Yes. Testing surgically precise, low-risk solutions in a simulated environment before they commit a single dollar of actual resources. This completely changes how you weigh short-term versus long-term implications.
So that's the optimization side of things. But what happens when optimization isn't enough? When you hit the wall and the hardest decision, a workforce reduction, becomes necessary? Because even when layoffs are unavoidable, the organizational damage can be, profound.
And this is where AI's role has to shift. It moves from pure optimization to what you could call a necessary damage mitigation. In these really difficult layoff scenarios, its predictive power focuses on forecasting the secondary and tertiary effects.
They're ripple effects.
The ripple effects, exactly. On 3 vital metrics: sustained productivity, the morale of the employees who stay, and the retention of your most critical people. The AI uses historical data, and not just past layoff performance, but the company's entire operational history to build these risk models. It can forecast that ripple effect you mentioned. If you cut, say, 15% of your customer service team.
What heads to the other 85%?
Exactly. What's the predictive impact on their workload? Does their burnout risk shoot up by 40%?
Oh.
And does that, in turn, predict a 10% voluntary turnover increase among your best support engineers a few months later?
And this is where the modeling gets incredibly specific and also financially astute. The source material shows that AI can forecast how cutting certain job functions, let's say specific R&D roles, might impact the innovation pipeline 2 years from now.
Which directly affects future revenue.
Directly. And beyond that, the AI evaluates the true financial costs. It goes way beyond just salary savings. It gives you a full picture that has to factor in severance packages, unemployment, but also the cost of voluntary turnover.
The cost of losing the people you wanted to keep.
Yes. The expense you have to incur when your top performers decide to leave anyway because of fear or a higher workload. AI can actually quantify that risk down to the penny you'll spend replacing that talent 6 months down the line.
And this nuanced total cost view allows leadership to structure any reductions with surgical precision. It helps ensure that if layoffs absolutely must happen, the resulting organizational debt is quantified and minimized. You can protect your mission-critical functions and the internal relationships that are going to drive your future growth.
But, okay, effective workforce planning has to pivot from that reactive damage control to a proactive strategy. Reskilling feels like the big one here. It's the engine that keeps a workforce competitive with automation and digital transformation happening so fast. How does AI make that huge investment more efficient?
It really comes down to precision targeting. AI drives reskilling efficiency by solving the two hardest challenges. First, it goes beyond a simple performance review. It identifies which specific employees are most likely to successfully learn and apply new high-demand skills.
And how did it do that?
By analyzing a really rich data set, past project assignments, aptitude scores, current skill decay rates, and it even looks at the skills they used in successful collaborations with other teams. Second, the systems forecast future skill demands with incredible precision.
We're not just talking about knowing, we'll need more data analysts.
Right, that's too generic. It's way too generic. The AI forecasts the precise rate of rise for that demand. It might project, for example, a 35% compound annual growth in the need for Python programmers who specialize in supply chain optimization within the next 18 months. This lets the organization prioritize training where the future skill gap is predicted to be the sharpest.
Wait a second. So the AI is not just telling us who to train, but it's also predicting how fast they'll likely pick up the new skill based on their past work and how they learn.
That's a big part of it.
That completely changes the budget conversation. The ROI on training becomes so much clearer, and the level of personalization is pretty remarkable. The source notes that AI-powered learning platforms deliver a highly tailored experience. So this isn't just assigning everyone the same generic module.
Not at all.
The recommendations are based on an employee's strengths, their weaknesses, even their preferred learning style. By making the training immediately relevant and digestible, it dramatically improves the program's efficiency and the speed at which people actually become proficient in that new role.
And that efficiency doesn't just stop once the program is deployed. AI provides a powerful, continuous feedback loop. It tracks the progress of the reskilling in real time. It assesses how well employees are adapting. So if a newly reskilled employee is struggling with one specific concept in their first project,
The AI flags it.
it flags that gap immediately and can recommend some micro-training or maybe targeted mentorship to reinforce that weak area. It ensures the organization is getting the absolute maximum value from its human capital investment.
So we started this with some pretty cold, hard business decisions. But what does all of this comprehensive, data-driven planning mean for the actual employee experience? For retention, can AI really mitigate the stress that comes with major organizational change?
Absolutely. The end goal here is long-term stability. And while change is always stressful, AI can be used proactively for well-being and retention. By analyzing things like workload patterns, communication metrics, performance velocity, the AI can spot employees who are showing early warning signs of burnout or disengagement.
Long before a manager might even notice.
Often long before. And this allows the company to intervene early with targeted support. That could mean load balancing, suggesting time off, or reallocating some resources. And beyond that, this data is just essential for designing effective retention strategies that are focused specifically on keeping your best people. The AI doesn't rely on generic surveys. It identifies the key drivers of satisfaction and retention that are unique to that specific organization.
So for one company, it might be flexible work hours. For another, it's something else entirely.
It could be. It might be flexibility, it might be compensation, it might be access to growth opportunities. By identifying those crucial factors, the company can tailor its strategies to improve retention rates precisely where it matters most.
And the ultimate goal there is really preventative, isn't it? By building this high-fidelity model of employee satisfaction, companies can tailor their plans to maintain a healthy, engaged workforce, and hopefully prevent the need for those damaging emergency layoffs in the first place. It turns workforce management into a self-optimizing system that's focused on long-term health, not just short-term cuts. So to summarize this really profound transformation, AI is providing organizations with the predictive capability they need to minimize the risks that come with volatility, while maximizing the growth opportunities that are inherent in their own workforce. It elevates strategic workforce planning from, a reactive HR function into a constant, strategic, data-driven business imperative.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, the use of AI in this context is fundamentally about survival and adaptability. It's about empowering organizations to create workforces that are far more resilient, workforces that are capable of pivoting quickly and are ultimately future-ready. It's what will ensure businesses stay competitive in this increasingly automated and, volatile market.
It's an incredible shift in strategic capability. And as this tech continues to evolve, its potential to reshape workforce planning is only going to grow. So here's a final provocative thought for you to think about. Beyond just predicting skill gaps and quantifying layoff costs, what new metrics might AI find to help businesses build an even more agile organization? Maybe it could focus on entirely new dimensions of human potential. Things like, the velocity of deep collaboration across teams, or the measurable impact of localized creativity. What are the things beyond what we've discussed today that it could unlock?